AB Productions. Prepare your popcorn.
Just kidding. All you have to do is sit back and relax. Oh, and learn a thing or two. This is a PC I built for my friend Tristan, so enjoy. First, we'll start by taking the motherboard out. Make sure you save the IO sheet for later. I like to use the motherboard's box as my base to work on it. First step is the CPU. In this build I'm using a Ryzen 5 3600. Make sure you locate the triangle in the corner on the CPU, and then locate the triangle on the motherboard. Next, we will flip the CPU socket lever up and drop the CPU in, and then you'll pull down the lever and it should be locked into place. Next is the RAM sticks. I will be using two 8GB DDR4. Make sure you unlock the RAM slots on the motherboard. And each RAM stick has a long side and then a short side. Make sure you identify which one is which. And match the long side to the long side on the motherboard slot. And apply even pressure on both sides of the RAM sticks. It will be 2 clicks. Next up is the M.2 NVMe SSD. In this build I will be using a 1TB Teamgroup SSD. You may have a screw already in the motherboard, so make sure you take that out first. Again, this part of the computer also has a long side and a short side, so match it up to the socket on the motherboard. Next, we will insert the NVMe, and you will hold it down while you screw it in. This step isn't for every motherboard, but some don't come with a CMOS battery, so you'll insert a CMOS battery into the slot. Alright, and next step is the case. I recommend laying it flat on your workspace or your table, whatever you're doing it on. Now get your IO shield. And align it with the side of the motherboard so it's not upside down. When putting in the IO shield, make sure it is pressed in evenly as shown. Before putting in the motherboard, make sure all standoffs are in the right slots. Now get your screws for the motherboard. In this build I only needed 5. And when screwing in, do not fully screw all of them until all the screws are in. Then you will start in alternating points. An example is starting at the top left to the bottom right, and then to like left middle or something like that. After the motherboard is in place, remove the CPU bracket. I am using a Thermalright 360mm AIO for this build. since the CPU is an AMD brand, I will get out the AMD bracket and screw it in. Before we put in the power supply, make sure to connect all the case cables to the motherboard. Next is the power supply. In this build, I am using a rosewill arc 650 watt 80 plus bronze. After the power supply is in the case, connect the cables to the motherboard in their respective locations. We are almost done. Now put in any extra fans that you were going to put in and connect the RGB and the PWM cables. The method I use for this build is called daisy chaining, which is basically plugging in each fan to each other, and the last cables will go into the motherboard or a fan hub and then to the motherboard. Lastly, we will be putting in the GPU. In this build, I am using a RX 5700 XT. And the final product in all its glory, drum roll please. This is quite literally my friend's honest reaction. And also his setup. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more PC builds.